we basically lost a lot of content, but now deal with it.
Yes, you all should have been there in person
Yes.
for our live show.
Oh, where is it?
It's okay, y'all didn't miss much. Just lots of funny things that we said.
And a couple of things we weren't going to put anyway.
Yeah. So it all worked out in the end.
Yes, as it does. Alright, so round 2, it's called Rishta's Romance and Red Flags.
Let's do it.
So, okay, the question is, what's the most bizarre advice you've gotten about love or marriage?
From Swati Mami. Get married now.
Do you agree with it? You want to get married now?
I wanted to get married when I was 21 because, like I told you, I was like very romantic and everything. Like I wanted to get married back then, but like with the right person. And then back then, you know, that person wasn't the right person. And then there were many people who came along the way who were not the right people. And now I'm again waiting for the right person. And
soon you shall find.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm still hopeful.
Yes.
Yeah, people get married, like find love at 40, 45, 50.
I don't think there's a
whatever. And it's not like I'm going to wait till 40. But like, yeah, when it happens, it could happen tomorrow.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Dance at my wedding.
Of course.
Honestly, everyone's so excited for me to get married. I'm so excited for me to get married, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to rush it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very, like, excited for the wedding.
Yeah.
And, of course, for the marriage part that comes later.
Yeah.
But also for the wedding. Because of the Sangeet and everything. And all my girls will get to dance. And you will get to dance. And
yes.
Yeah. I'm excited to choreograph my own Sangeet.
That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Treat to the eyes.
But yeah, like, right person. Still waiting.
Got it.
What about you, Nish?
Bizarre advice about love or marriage.
Do have people started telling you the whole biological clock thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, I know there's a lot of scientific things, and I've actually I was having a conversation with someone, I think my neighbor, and then she was like, "What do you think?" And then she was like, "Actually, this is a good age to get your eggs frozen." And the first time someone told me otherwise.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the best advice then, instead of bizarre.
Yeah.
Because usually people, like aunties, would come and say that, oh, the biological clock is running out, like this is the best age to get married, whatever. And then I don't think my parents would ever do that. My dad is like, don't get married until you find the right person. He has the same thinking like you do. And so do I. But yeah, that was the best advice that I got, because she said that your eggs are the healthiest at the age that you are, and then you can just chill.
Wait, how old are you?
24.
Are my eggs unhealthy now? No, my gynaec said it's fine. I can still get my eggs frozen.
Yeah, you're still under 30.
People get pregnant at 35 also.
Exactly. So I don't think like it's a big deal that way. But yeah, that's a shitty thing to say, that just because you're running out of time, get married.
Yeah.
I don't think, like, as much as I would like to follow the clock and all of that and not put myself,
I would have loved that. Like, that was the plan. You know, plan A was, you know, to get married and have kids.
Yes.
But plan B isn't so bad either, honestly. You know, traveling around the world, living my life, being on a podcast with Nish, like, I think I'm doing a podcast. I'm doing good.
Yeah, I think you're doing great.
I think I'm doing great too.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't think there's anything bizarre that anyone has said around me.
Yeah.
But I don't think I listen to shit like that.
Yeah, and we shouldn't also.
Yeah, even if I've heard, I'll just shut my ears and leave. So I'll probably just forget what they said.
I don't know how it feels at 24, but I think like 24 onwards, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, and also like for me personally, because I have that kind of traveling kind of lifestyle I've had so far, I've also kind of felt behind sometimes. Like I feel like my friends who are 29, for example, earn a lot more than me. So there's also that, like it's like, okay, relationship bhi nahi hai, and then utna financial stability bhi nahi hai, because I think even to adopt you have to, like, there's a whole process and you know, and I get that, but why do you need financial stability? Like poor people have kids too, you know. And like narcissists have kids too. Like I know you need emotional stability too, and I'm willing to work on it, but I feel like orphanages and like whoever sees it, I still haven't done my research, but like whoever like looks at the criteria should also like see the intention of the person. Like as long as they have good intentions, I think people should let people adopt, because I think they would be better off adopted than Unless the orphanage is amazing, then in that case, because I'm sure there are like places which are doing like amazing work.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Anyway, I digressed again. Sorry. Next question. ADHD.
Okay, what's a green flag you always fall for and a red flag you keep ignoring?
I love this question. It should have been the opposite though. What's the red flag that you fall for and the green flag you keep ignoring? What's a green flag that I fall for? I think feminist. I know it's the bare minimum,
but you still.
But yeah, like for me, even though this whole trend of like, it's just so like, why? I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's very disheartening to see young men like behave this way and say things like fatherless behavior and like I don't know, just like all kinds of things and comparing women and like whatever. Anyway, but yeah, like if someone's a feminist, then that's like a green flag for me, and that I keep falling for. Actually, I don't know. I don't think I've even met. I think all the green flag men are gone. And I think women are like always, most women,
greener.
Yeah, like just most women that I know are like always green flags anyway. But like men, very few, at least in India, not as much.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like even in urban India, like even like city.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then red flags, I think a smoker, someone who smokes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me too, yeah.
I'm like, I just can't. Like, it's okay, like, if you need to do it for whatever reason, but...
Not for you.
Yeah, not for me. Yeah. I just can't handle the passive, like you're smoking and I'm getting the cancer. How is that fair? In what world?
Of course. Can't pay for someone else's deeds.
Yeah.
Take your own responsibility.
I don't even know if that whole passive smoking causes, like, has higher chances.
I'm sure it has some effect negatively.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like, no, but they were saying like it's even, passive smoking is even worse than smoking. Yeah. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if it's true, I don't want to take my chances.
Fair. Yeah. You should protect yourself and all.
Which is why like Indonesia was like intense for me.
Because there are a lot of smokers, right?
Yeah, like more than 70% of the men smoke and I think like 20% or 30% women or something.
Damn, that's a large number.
It's a huge number. Yeah. It's a lot.
Damn. Okay.
That's why I like India. That way. Like at least in public places, like people don't smoke. There's a lot less. And if you make a face, something like... Then they stop. But in Indonesia or even in Europe, like, Paris and Madrid, and like they're very like smoking cities. Yes. And even if you make a face, they'll make a face back at you. So, true, yeah. So like that's one thing that I really missed about India and I'm very happy to be back. Oh, but the sad part is that we have pollution here. Ta-da!
Yikes. Yeah.
You still can't breathe clear fresh air. But true. It's fine.
Okay. Sunny, if all your exes were in one room, what chaos would unfold?
Oh,
what question is this?
If all my exes were in one room, I don't know. But honestly, I think I would have fun. Like, I think I would give all of them feedback forms.
Okay.
Or like maybe I would have like a conference. Or like a Channa Mireya contest or something. I don't know. I'll invite all of them to my wedding and be like, okay, you guys want to sing, like, I think that could be fun actually.
Okay.
Why not? I don't think it would be chaotic because I think like I'm the more chaotic person and I think all of my exes have been pretty mellow.
Yeah,
not like mellow, I think.
Mellow.
At least compared to me, everyone's mellow. So, like Srishti said. What about you?
I don't have.
You don't have a lot of exes.
Yeah.
I know of one.
2.
Okay.
But that was like bachpan, so I don't really count.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like 1, yeah.
I think I was just thinking if you actually put all of my exes together in one room, one thing that someone would notice is that I don't really have a type. Like it's just been like all kinds of people, all kinds of professions, all heights, all skin colors, all nationalities, like all like very varied, like rich people, poor people, whatever, like broke, homeless people, everything.
Damn, that's a lot of experience.
It's a lot of experience.
It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, which is why now I'm like in that phase where I will not settle for less, and I will not put myself through that experience again. I mean, I guess it's like, it's good in a way. Like, obviously, I don't regret anything that I did. And yeah, just kind of being also like kind to myself, like, because it's fine, you know, like,
it's okay.
Baby, you can't even know.
Growing.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not going to be the same person you were a couple of years
But it'll be fun. Like, I would also like to yell at some of them. And I also have some of my exes are actually my friends still, like very good friends of mine. So like, I would get like my friends to beat up the bad ones.
That'd be fun.
And some of them owe me money. Some of them still have to pay
give
me
back
back.
the money, man.
I think like three or four people owe me money. And in fact, I feel like everyone should just pay me for like the emotional damage. Emotional damage.
Looks like we're looking at crores. Oops. Right. Okay. What's your love language, and what do you think is your actual toxic love language?
Okay. I think my love language is like words of affirmation. And I really like I really need to hear it. And also I really like acts of service. I think my least one is quality time.
Okay.
And I think words. And I also yeah, like out of the 5, I would say like words of affirmation, acts of service, and then which is the other one? There's physical touch.
Physical touch, gifting, and then quality.
Yeah, then gifting, then physical touch, and then quality time at the end. And then I think apart from these 5, I also really like it. Like for me, my love language, like receiving and giving, is also, I love, like if I post you on my social media, then I really love you.
Okay.
Like it's like one of my love languages.
Got it.
So
yeah. Do you think you have a toxic love language?
Yeah. I think it is that I am obsessed with that person, and I also want that person to be obsessed with me.
Got it.
And this is not just in romantic relationships, but also like in other like family, all
even
relationships.
all sorts of relationships.
Like with my baby sister, like she loves her private space, but I also love her private space. So we're both in her personal space all the time, and she's like, she's kind of like a cat, like she prefers that she come to you rather than
you.
But I'm like a puppy, like needy for love, like I want love, give me attention.
Right.
What about you? I'm curious.
I think my love language is acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch. For what I would like, what I do is different.
Okay.
I heard it somewhere and like to stick by it, that love the other person in their love language. I think I've spoken about this in the podcast as well. But that's something that I learned over time. But then, yeah, I think then that would be quality time and then gifting for me. But
I love that.
I think reciprocation is also one. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be as intense, but I don't think I'm that intense as a person. I would not want to project myself on anyone, but if I am coming 100%, I would expect the person to as well.
Yeah.
Maybe not 100, like we can meet up somewhere.
Yeah.
But there should be some sort of reciprocation. It can't be one-sided.
Yeah, it definitely can't be one-sided.
In like any relationship, that is. And that's something that I've learned from my like close friends as well.
Yeah. I feel like I also learn a lot. Like sometimes I feel very lost and like despondent, and I feel ki maybe it's impossible to have like a good relationship with anyone in the world. Like because I am the kind of person, like I can be a little bit confrontational.
Yeah.
Which can be a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because if there's an issue that's bothering me, I will bring it up.
Right.
But the bad thing is that leads to a conflict. You know, I'm not the kind of person that will brush it under the carpet. But I think it's in the short term, it's annoying, but in the long term,
it's for the good.
It's good.
Yeah.
And I used to think that it's gonna be impossible for me to ever have a good relationship with someone, because I still kind of struggle sometimes with even with my parents and my family and my friends even, you know, like I've had some friendship breakups also, which have hurt a lot, but now we're friends again.
Okay.
We had some friendship patch-ups also.
That's nice.
So that's nice. But like sometimes I do get hope, like because of my friends actually. Because with communication, we've actually had fights and come back stronger.
Sure, yeah.
Like with Vallari, with Srishti, with Anurag. Like we've had fights, we've had terrible fights, and we've, like for example, Vallari, like even though she is not as like a puppy kind of love, like not that needy or like not that, she's not the kind of person who'll call you every day. But like even though I tell her, like even though she's doing it after I tell her to, she still makes an effort to call me. And earlier I used to feel, no, but why should I have to tell her? She should want to do it. But honestly, people are not mind readers and people have different personalities, and it's okay that, you know, so like these are things that I've learned with her, and that kind of gives me hope that if we can do this, if we can have long lasting relationships with our friends and with our siblings and you know, with our parents. And you know, my mom and I, we were doing relationship therapy for a while, and it was so good. Like
interesting.
I'm like very like a big family person, as you all can tell by this podcast. But yeah, like my mom has like always been my best friend. So you know, it's been rough, and like when we had like an intense fight in the middle, we like wanted to, you know, come back stronger from that. So yeah, I feel hope. I'm like, okay, I know I've had like bad romantic relationships in the past, but there is hope.
There's hope, yeah.
You know, and like with the right person, like you just have to kind of work at it. And and my parents, like they fell in love and they met in college, and you know, they're very happily in love even now. And of course they fight, but they're very much in love. And and I asked my mom like what she did, how she did it. She got married at 25. Both my parents are the same age. They got married at 25. They had me at 28. They had Vallari at 32, 31, 32 something. So I'm like, okay, that's so perfect, you know, and that's something that I wanted for myself, and it didn't happen. I'm 29, and I like there is dur tak there is no one in sight. But so I you know, I was asking, okay, how did you do it, and why are you so lucky, and why am I not? Like honestly, I'm jealous of them, you know. But she said that, you know, like it's a, like you have to wake up it's a choice. Like love is a choice. You have to wake up every day and make an effort. You have to you have to wake up every day, and it's not like a
fairy tale.
Yeah, fairy tale or one time thing. You wake up every day and you make that decision. Love is a decision. It's a choice. It's an action.
For sure.
Love is a verb.
Correct. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. That's such a nice way to put it. Actually,
I probably heard it or read it somewhere. It's not original.
Yeah, but
still,
whoever gets to listen to this, good for you. But yeah, like I get it. The whole waking up every day and having to choose the same person despite of how the person is a big task. It seems easy, but
and it's hard to feel hopeful after a breakup, but
I think it just comes.
Yeah,
there's a lot of hope around us.
Yeah, like I see people in happy relationships, and I'm like, it's possible.
And even like friends and family and platonic relationships are
so good.
Yeah. Sometimes I
so
wish
satisfying,
like,
so fulfilling.
Yeah, why can't this be?
Yes.
But yeah, cool. One day.
Yeah. In fact, I love your friendship with Rasesh. I really love it so much.
Yeah.
I think because of the travel and all, like kabhi, like I have long lasting friendships, but thoda sa long distance. So I like that you all meet in person and you all, you know, make those cutesy reels together and private account, which no one will know what it is. But anyway, but you know, but I love that you all actually do these things together and invest in your friendship, because like investing in adult friendships are hard.
They're so hard.
Like finding times, like that suit everyone, you know, like
for sure,
people have family engagements, your parents are getting older, like whatever. There are like lots of stuff. There's like job stuff, and there are classes, dance classes,
Yeah.
But it's really nice. I really love your and Rasesh ka friendship, and I love like Rugvedi and everyone else like in the group also. Like everyone's a sweetheart, but I really like. Oh no! Cut this out! Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's only because I love myself, and then she's kind of like me. But also we're like different in a lot of ways. Like we're answering the questions differently. a lot. And also, Raseshwari said that we're both certified yappers. But on this podcast, I feel like I'm yapping and you've just been like this amazing listener.
Okay.
And yeah, I want to listen some too.
I mean, I start yapping when I feel like, but I prefer listening to people talk sometimes.
This is one of my.
I think I yap only in front of her. It's like I'm really shut up.
No, I want to be a good listener too. Like sometimes I like, this is one of my fears actually, that maybe I talk more than I listen, and this is something that like I'm a little bit conscious about.
Why? I think the right person and the right people, like friends or whatever, I think you just be just fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, like, yeah,
that's fine. Sometimes you get to yap, sometimes you get to listen, sometimes you get to do both.
You know, one of my friends, Arundhati, they always say ki, why does everyone say ki, you know, people need to be more extrovert, like introverts need to speak more. Why can't extroverts just shut up? And I was like, oh my god, they are so right, like I need to shut up. But of course they meant it with love, like a lot of love, like in a fun
fun
way.
Yeah.
But like if you have noticed, you know, people always do tell the shy people, oh thoda aur bolo, baat karo. नहीं करे तुम मत बोलो ना तुम.
No, honestly, I agree. Like all my life, I've been told that baat karo. Why are you so quiet and why are you so? I'm like, I am not an introvert, and I feel like this is what I've come to realize is that introvert and extrovert are just two verbs to define a person. But I think everyone is both.
Yeah,
in
like it's a spectrum, and like you're somewhere.
No, sometimes you are extroverted, sometimes you're introverted.
Yeah.
And I also feel like sometimes what other people say gets projected on you, and then you become that person that you never really were.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with me for the longest time. And because both my parents are big yappers, big public speaking, whatever people. Everyone in my family is like that. And because I spoke a little less, I was always told, why you not like? It always came to confidence. And I was like, that's not true. I'm not underconfident. I was never underconfident.
Yeah, you'll say something when you have something to say. ये नहीं कि बोलने के लिए बोले जा रहे हैं.
Like कुछ लोगों के सामने, like here I'm talking, with them I'm talking. Like, मेरे tribe के सामने मैं चुप नहीं बैठती हूँ, मैं याप करती हूँ. And even when I have to go and talk to someone, when I know I have to do it, I do it. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Or like underconfident to go and approach a person. But that was been projected on me for like a while, and like not just by my parents. They thought I should be more confident, and that was just their way of doing it, because I had like a whole graph of introvert, extrovert, whatever. But then when I took some time and I was traveling as well and took some time to realize who I really am as a person, I realized that I fall right in the center of both, and I can switch to whatever whenever I want to. And I hated being told that you need to, and especially by people who I give a shit about.
Yeah.
And you're gonna come and tell me on my face that, oh, you are this way, maybe you should try to be that.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize. I am very, very against unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
I feel like you should only give advice to someone if they ask for it. Otherwise, don't waste your time.
Exactly.
And don't waste their time, more importantly. Because a lot of people come and give me like advice, which is so faltu. And then I have to waste my time and energy explaining to them why their advice is stupid and why I'm going to do what I want to do anyway.
Yeah.
And also, like, one very good advice that I heard somewhere is only take advice from the people whose life you want to lead.
Wow.
But I also want to go back to what you were saying about when people label you as something, there is like that self-fulfilling prophecy कि अगर कोई बोल देता है कि तुम ऐसे हो, so then you actually start behaving that way. Yeah. And it takes a lot of effort to kind of tell yourself and say कि नहीं, actually this person said कि मैं ऐसी हूँ, मैं actual में ऐसी नहीं हूँ. So
yeah, I feel like from my perspective, I feel like I lived that life for a while.
Yeah.
And then you start believing it. And I was like, bro, what is happening?
But congratulations on being back.
I am back. No one's gonna stop me now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
stop doing that, people.
People, whoever you are.
No, all the niche fans are nice. All the parivarics. What do you call your
I don't know how many
all the paris,
people that are
all
watching
the
me.
paras and paris and the pares are very nice, and nobody. We don't judge here. We listen and we don't judge. It's a safe space.
Yes, we're just talking our hearts out. So keep what you think is useful and let the other things go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Okay. This is interesting. Okay. Have you ever been in love, or were you just really into the idea of being loved?
Oh, can you repeat the question?
Have you ever been in love, or were you just really into the idea of being loved?
You know, so there are, the romantic part of me wants to say that I have never been in love and that I will only be in love with my partner. Because that's the side of me that believes in one true love and that soulmate. So I never really know love, because when I know, I'll know and I'll marry that person right away. And but like the other side of me, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know yet.
Okay.
Maybe this is a question for like maybe after 30 years.
We'll come back to it after 30
We'll
years.
come back.
Yes.
What about you? Have you ever been in love?
Yes, I think. But when I was younger and also had this similar approach, I felt like, oh, this is it and whatever. Like very young, like very, very young. That time I felt like, okay, yeah, whatever, this is love. But then as when I grew up, I realized that no, that was just like finding comfort in a person and like besties, like whatever. But then yeah, as I grew older, yeah, I did fall in love. But I don't know what it is like. I don't know if I should share this out loud. I don't want to offend anyone.
Say it.
Shit.
You can cut it out if you have.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how it is to be loved, because I have now started comparing everything to the love I see around me. And in that context, from the love I get from my friends and my parents, is nowhere close to the love I have experienced in a very romantic way. So
I don't think that's offensive to anyone at all. I think
Yeah,
it's a reality check and much needed reality check.